Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Sean Chatterjee, VP of Sales, North America at Acumatica, coming to you from this wonderful location at LeMay, America's Car Museum here in Tacoma, Washington. We are here today for Acumatica 2021 R1 launch event. The event has not started yet, and I'm just warming you guys up, and I will be passing the ball over to John in just a few minutes. Behind me, you have this fantastic collection of cars that are ranging from dazzling new Ferraris to timeless and priceless vintage cars. And John is going to be spending some time a little bit later talking about these cars. We are launching Acumatica's 2021 R1 product. And if you look back just a little bit, about 7 months, we brought you 2020 R2. That was also just a fantastic event. And we rolled out so many different product functionality. The two that really sticks out in my mind, two of my favorites, was the AP automation that we brought to you, where we used Acumatica's AI and ML capabilities to look at scanned documents or an email PDF and automatically translate that into data that was populating the Acumatica forms. A lot of our customers told me that it made a tremendous impact in terms of productivity and how they work. The second one was Acumatica's advanced expense management, where the expense management functionality was further streamlined and working alongside the automated bank feeds. These were just two of the functionality that was rolled out among a host of others. Today, I can tell you that there are some really nice surprises in store for you. Some really powerful functionality that you're going to get a glimpse of. Now, looking back at 2020, it was a very strange and difficult year for a lot of us. And I'm sure glad that we had our 2020 Summit, which was right towards the end of January and early February in Las Vegas. The Summit, to me, is my most favorite event. That's the time that I get to meet customers, I get to meet partners, I get to spend time with our extended ecosystem, folks from our ISV community, and also our own employees and friends from all over the world. Well, in today's situation with COVID, we can't have an in-person event. So 3 months back, we rolled out our community site. And today, I can tell you, just in these 3 months, we have more than 3,000 registered users. We have got 1,500 posts that have been posted by these users, and 30% of the questions have been answered by non-Acumatica resources. Such an awesome thing. So for all of you who are with us today, if you're not on the community site, make sure to sign up. Also, at the end of the event today, do not hang up, because we're going to have 4 deep dive breakout sessions. These breakout sessions are going to be in manufacturing, in distribution, in project accounting and construction, as well as retail and commerce. And depending on your interests, you would like to spend some time on these breakout sessions. I know a bunch of you are still logging in, so just wanted to introduce myself again. This is Sean Chatterjee, Vice President of Sales, North America at Acumatica. And again, we're at America's Car Museum here, which has the largest private car collection in the entire world. I'm going to be handing over the ball to John in just a little bit, and John is actually standing right there. And I'm going to do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. John.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome to LeMay, America's Car Museum. Great to have all of you here joining us for the Acumatica 2021 R1 product release. We're so excited to share with you the latest release from Acumatica. We're going to have amazing product demos from Ali, Ajoy, Doug, and Jessica later. We're going to then do 4 breakouts on each of the industry editions afterwards. You're going to get to meet Renee Chris, the curator of this amazing car museum, and she's going to show you some of the really amazing cars that they've got here. So for now, buckle up. Let's get this rolling. Thanks for being here. I love cars, and LeMay, America's Car Museum, has over 100 years of automotive technology right here. MSN named it one of the 10 best automotive museums in the world. If you're a car enthusiast, put this place on your list. The museum started with the LeMay family collection of more than 3,000 vehicles. Today, the museum not only houses the LeMay collection, but it presents 12 or so original exhibits a year. These exhibits explore different themes, like the impact of automobiles on society, design, and technology. The building itself is remarkable. It has over 165,000 square feet of exhibit space on 4 levels, has a unique vaulted ceiling, and the roof is covered with over 65,000 pounds of aluminum sheeting. Right after the keynote, we're going to take a look at a car that epitomizes the 1950s. But first, let's start off with Acumatica 2021 Release 1. This is the 3rd release the product team has done during the pandemic. 2020 R1, 2020 R2, and now 2021 R1. And I couldn't be prouder of how the team has stepped up in remote work situations and been able to deliver quality release after quality release. And of course, we've been working with customers hand in hand through all of this. And it's been amazing to see what the team and the customers working together have been able to deliver. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of that.
Safety Management Group provides services to the construction, healthcare, utilities, manufacturing, pharmaceutical industry.
Spawn Associates was founded in 1976, and we specialize in architectural wall panels, ornamental metals, railings, windows.
Digital Planet is a purpose-based business. Our goal is to deliver a laptop with education to every South African.
Acumatica helps us become more efficient through time and expense management, the accounting, and then tying the CRM into all of that.
It's one place for everyone in the organization to go to get information.
We're saving time, streamlining our processes, and reducing our resources.
Acumatica played a critical role in our ability to pivot to working from home during the COVID-19 lockdown period.
There's no different from sitting behind your computer at the desk in the office as it is sitting at home on your kitchen table.
Without the Acumatica solution, we would have been in a world of hurt as it related to our timekeeping, our accounting processes. We didn't really miss a beat.
Acumatica gives us total control and flexibility to customize the platform. As our business evolves, so can we evolve the platform.
With the implementation of our dashboards, that's been a huge help for us and a time saving, having all the information right there on one page.
It's a much more efficient process versus me asking, hey, can you run me this report or that report? I can see utilization right at my fingertips.
We were able to save about $50,000 out of the gate. That's just licensing, right? Had we stayed in the legacy software, we probably would have had to add a person.
Acumatica Construction Edition is scalable, customizable, and specific to the construction industry.
We want to have a big impact in South Africa, and Acumatica is the platform that will enable us to do so.
Wow, so exciting to see all the great things our customers are doing with Acumatica. Acumatica, we take customer success and customer satisfaction extremely seriously. We measure it through our own surveys, and there are numerous third-party surveys out there evaluating vendors on customer satisfaction. But one that we find particularly accurate is the G2 customer satisfaction, because it's your data, it's actual customer data. And I'm so excited to be able to share with you the latest G2 release from right at the end of 2020, which now shows Acumatica leading every vendor in the ERP industry. Yes, every vendor in the ERP industry on that customer satisfaction axis. And it's something we couldn't be prouder of, and we're so excited to be able to share that with you. So what do we think is driving that? Well, at the center of everything we do, there has to be a great product. And through all of the releases we've done over the years from Acumatica, the product is always the centerpiece of what Acumatica revolves around. But unlike some of our other vendors out there, we layer on things like training through Acumatica Open University, accessible to anybody. The online documentation with amazing search capabilities. The very rich Acumatica knowledge base. The ability to interact with the product team and provide product feedback. And of course, the Acumatica user groups. One of the great releases of 2020 was a new Acumatica community portal that brings all of this together in one portal. Community.acumatica.com. There are already thousands and thousands of Acumatica users found it and are using this every day. They're interacting, they're sharing ideas, they're helping each other. And so if you haven't been up to the community forum yet, I encourage you to go ahead and get up there. The community forum is a big part of our community, but the community, of course, is incredibly broad. It starts with our customers and then the Acumatica team itself, but it extends out to our partners, all the different types of partners. And 2020 was a great year with many new partners joining Acumatica. On the VAR side, or the reseller side, we now have over 350 VARs reselling Acumatica globally. On the ISV side, we had another 57 new ISVs join the Acumatica community. So now 250 plus ISVs building extensions or industry-specific components for Acumatica. The developer community, hundreds and hundreds of developers participating in customizing Acumatica. We had an online developer summit back in June. Over 500 developers participated for 2 days in a row. And then lastly, the Acumatica international distributors. The people like Cegid in France, Lexware in Germany, or MYOB in Australia and New Zealand, taking Acumatica into far-reaching places of the globe in partnership with us. There's one component of the Acumatica community that I want to highlight in particular here today, and that's the Acumatica MVPs. We just announced earlier today the 2020 Acumatica MVPs. These are special people in the community that are really stepping up to help others through online feedback, online help, writing blog postings, or posting code snippets for people to share in. 82 product MVPs, and then an additional 21 developer MVPs. Now let me shift gears and talk a little bit about Acumatica, the company. What has always differentiated Acumatica from pretty much everybody else in the ERP industry are three main things. First of all, it's the Acumatica future-proof cloud XRP platform that everything's built on top of. Everybody in the industry is talking about platform, but we actually have one, a true technology platform that's shared with all the modules that run across the Acumatica family. Secondly, we have those best-of-breed business functional modules, CRM, financials, etc. And you're going to continue to see those get richer and richer. And then, of course, our industry editions. And then we wrap all of that in a set of ethical business practices. We codify these business practices in something we call the Acumatica Customer Bill of Rights. It's published, it's up on the internet for everyone to see. And I'll just highlight a few of them as examples. Things like an end user license agreement, or EULA, that's easy to read and understand. pricing that's predictable and manageable year over year, and one that I think is particularly important, which is around data ownership. You should own your customers' data, not the ERP vendor, and we strongly believe that. And yet it's not the case across a large part of the ERP industry. So those differentiators, the Acumatica Cloud XRP platform, the best-of-breed modules, the industry editions, the business practices, and then more and more you're going to hear us talking about these connected cross-module workflows. These are the workflows that we'll demonstrate for you shortly that work across the modules, customer business processes in the software. So going from CRM into financials, into inventory, into field services. This is where you really see Acumatica as a product start to sing and provides that collective differentiation. Acumatica has been on an amazing growth trajectory for many years now, and it's been so exciting to be part of it. Throughout the pandemic in 2020, we were investing still, hiring lots and lots of engineers, lots of support people to help manage through the growth we were experiencing even last year. And now as we come out of the pandemic, we're looking forward and we're planning to accelerate and go even faster. And I'm so excited about some of the things we've got in store. So what can you expect? Well, everything we do starts from listening to you, the customer. We take that input and we turn that into amazing product, features, functionality. But more and more, you're going to see that surfacing through what we're calling these industry editions. Places where we're getting really industry-specific functionality delivered, and it starts to make the product even richer to use. And of course, layering on top of that, Acumatica has always been about bringing in the latest and greatest future technology. Not technology for technology's sake, but technology that can be used and applied in a pragmatic, useful way. We've done it with natural language, we did it with mobility and some of the mobile apps that we've provided, and most recently we've been doing it with artificial intelligence and machine learning. And you're going to see the latest editions of that in 2021 R1. Customer success, that's what we're all about here at Acumatica. And now, time for a little bit of fun. I'd like to introduce you to Renee Chris, curator of LeMay, America's Car Museum. So Renee, car historian, car collector, this must be your dream job.
Yes, and I get to drive them all, which is really fun too.
I'm sure it is, I'm sure it is. So we're standing next to one of the beautiful cars in the collection, a 1957 Cadillac Eldorado. Tell us a bit about it.
Yes, it's a 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. These cars were very exclusive for 1957. It was the jet age, and General Motors and Cadillac wanted to come out with a concept car to production. And this car was initially a concept car, which, you know, they piled everything in concept cars, all the futuristic design. Like this one has a stainless steel roof, something that was on other previous concept cars, but they decided to take this into production and sell to the public. The car came with absolutely every option known to GM and a lot more technology that was not. Like it has automatic locking doors. When you put it in park and you put it in drive, they unlock and lock. It came with a complete set of special vanities that go into the car for the creature comforts, including a little bar and stainless steel magnetized cups. Everything on this car is specific to the car. The only thing that would transfer with another Cadillac of this era would be the engine and drivetrain, but everything else was made specifically to this hand-built car. It was hand-built on its own line. So it has things like the onitrotic eye. When you turn the radio on and off, the antenna goes up and down by itself. Automatic locking doors. It has a 4-way memory seat, automatic trunk. You don't even have to get out of the car to open and close the trunk lid.
Well, thank you so much for sharing it with us. And now let's take a look at Acumatica 2021 R1 with our Chief Product Officer, Ali Jani.
Thank you, John. What a cool place you're at. That 57 Cadillac is an amazing car and well ahead of its time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 21 R1 launch event. We've got great things to show you. So get ready for some great demos and all the things that you've been asking for. 21R1 has been in the making since the last spring, and it's been a collective effort from all of us. As John mentioned, 21R1 and all our releases are directly based on the feedback we receive from all of you. The community site has been a tremendous help, and it's helped us work with you virtually throughout the last 6 months. Our investments in our industry editions have been extremely well received. 21R1, you will certainly see a lot of that showcased. You will see many new specific product managers and program managers coming on to help us interact and work with you closer than ever. So thank you so much for all the feedback, and know that you all have been part of every release. So without further ado, let me introduce you Ajoy Krishnamurthy to tell you about our best release ever, 21R1.
Thanks, Ali. It's great to be talking to you all today about our 2021 Release 1. It feels like just last month we put out Release 2020 R2, a feature-rich one at that, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback from all of you, our customers and partners. Here we are today to share more about 21 Release 1 with you all. For this release, we have 3 main themes. The first one is around usability. John talked about customer satisfaction and how everybody in this company are contributing to driving more customer satisfaction. And the product enhancements play a key role in that. Second is the work that we're doing with providing best-in-class functionality across all of the core modules: financials, CRM, field services, and payroll. But also with the industry editions in distribution, manufacturing, retail commerce, and construction. The last one is platform, and that serves as a foundation for all the work that we do, whether it's the enhancements to the workflow, which a lot of our applications team have taken advantage of and bringing new workflows into their respective solutions, or the support for OpenID Connect provider for authentication. Lots of new features coming in with the platform as well. We believe both new users and power users will benefit from enhancements that are coming in 21R1, with the enhancements to the dashboard, to the notification system, and the mobile image recognition. So what's coming in 2021R1? This slide, it's a very busy slide, but trust me, we're only showcasing a subset of what's coming in this release for you all. 2021R1 as investment across all the surface area, from platform to all the modules to the industry edition. All of these features are based on feedback that we have gotten from all of you, our partners and customers. John talked about the importance of community, the community site that we launched last year. We get feedback from the community site, from the feedback portal, from all the different focus groups and advisory board meetings that we run throughout the year. Keep those feedback coming. We take them very seriously. Our product management team spend hours reviewing the feedback and use that in our planning cycle. So in this slide, you see the list of features, a subset of features that are coming in platform. We're taking advantage of the work we have done with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Last year, we announced the AP document recognition, which many of you have started using already. Now we have enhanced that capability to automatically identify the PO associated with that AP invoice. We're also bringing in a new capability there that we'll show you in the demo later today. Pretty exciting functionality that's coming out of the box. We're also putting investment into our financial module. Financial module is used by all of our customers. We've got a strong system with the support for multi-currency and multi-company. We're now taking it to the next level with support for multiple base currencies. We're going to release that in phases, with phase 1 coming in with 21R1. Same true for industry editions. Take retail commerce. We've got a strong connector with BigCommerce and Shopify. Today, we are excited to announce the integration to Shopify Pro, which offers the POS capability. It's always a challenge for us to pick the set of features that we want to demonstrate at an event like this. We have a limited time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to share a few set of key scenarios in the session. But later today, we've got 4 breakouts for each of the industry editions: distribution, manufacturing, retail commerce, and construction. Each of the presenters in those sessions will take a deeper look into what's coming with 21R1 in those respective editions. For developers and technical folks in the audience, we got a lot of things to share with you around platform and the framework. Mark your calendars. We have a virtual developer conference on March 10th. Go ahead and register, where we'll share a lot more insights into debugging, insights into unit testing, mobile application, and what's coming with R1 in our platform, with our framework and API. So let's come back to this session now. We've identified 5 scenarios that we wanted to share with you in this launch event. This covers a range of capability that's coming out from us with 21R1, from enhancements to the usability, whether it's the new visuals or widgets for dashboard, or the enhancements to the cross-company sales process, or some automation in CRM. Doug and Jessica are standing by to demonstrate these new capabilities. Who's excited to see 21R1 in action? I am. Take it away, Doug and Jessica.
Thank you very much, Ajoy, and hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Gadboys. I am Acumatica's Director of Partner Enablement, and I'm very, very excited to show you our brand new release, Acumatica 2021 R1. As always, we start with usability. Acumatica is very well known and very highly awarded for our usability and user friendliness, and we continue to make improvements in this area in every release. I'll start by sharing my screen and highlighting a few of the brand new usability enhancements around dashboards, side panels, and the user interface. All right, we are going to set the stage in Acumatica, and I will be a sales manager working for an auto parts sales company. And I would like to use my dashboard not only to visualize my sales team's activities and their performance, but also to help me launch into other significant day-to-day activities. So taking a look at my sales manager dashboard, I can immediately see 2 of the brand new tiles coming out of release 1, which are called link tiles. You can see that these 2 tiles at the top of my screen not only help me to visualize data, but they allow me to take significant activities or reports and put those links directly on my dashboard so that I can launch into those activities. Now, for a sales manager, being able to quickly assign leads and quickly assign opportunities is of course important to help us decrease our sales cycle and ultimately increase our time to revenue. We then ask ourselves, how else can Acumatica R1 increase my activities with my sales team? And you can see over on the right-hand side that I can use our brand new meter tiles to start to track some of our activities within the organization. Now, as a sales manager, some of the activities that I am interested in are sales versus quota, my deal pipeline, and my overdue accounts. So I have this instant visibility to see if my team is meeting their goals or not. One thing I would like to mention about these meter tiles is that not only can you use an absolute value for setting the conditions or the thresholds of your meter, but you can actually use inquiry fields or percent values. Why this is important: in my example, I'm using sales versus quota, and my sales team's quota could change throughout the year, throughout the quarters. So being able to pull from an inquiry field instead of an absolute value allows those meters to constantly be updating against my ever-changing values, decreasing the time that I'm spending maintaining dashboards. Now, the next thing that I would like to do in my scenario is share this data across the company. We have recently hired a new executive within our organization, and that happens to be a new chief revenue officer at our auto parts company. And he is interested in seeing our sales versus quota information as well. As part of our new release, I can simply copy this dashboard tile so that I can share it with other users on other dashboards. My new chief revenue officer, for example, uses a management dashboard. So I will navigate over to my management dashboard, and in a matter of one click, I can paste that tile, share it with my new chief revenue officer, and he instantly has access and visibility to the same metrics that I do as a sales manager. Again, decreasing the time to implement customers' dashboards and also increasing shareability of important business intelligence across the organization. So the next thing that I would like to do is use my dashboard to help me target some of these accounts. Now, I also have my funnel tile available to me where I can start to target some of those accounts. Right now, I'm seeing all of the opportunities that are in my pipeline. In other words, these are opportunities that are primed for a sale. I'm going to drill down into one of my opportunity stages. So now I'm seeing all of the opportunities that are in the solution stage that I can begin to offer my discounts to hopefully drive those sales up. We introduced side panels in Acumatica 2 years ago now, and we've received tremendous feedback from customers and partners on the use of these side panels, one of our top usability features. Now, we've added visibility conditions to our side panels in our new release. So as a sales manager, when I have an open opportunity in the solution stage, I can go in and start to apply a discount to that sale. So here as a sales manager, we're going to give them a nice hefty discount. I have the permissions to do so in Acumatica as a manager, and we can now drive that sale up, hopefully with this added discount to an opportunity in the solution stage. Now, as far as the visibility conditions are concerned, notice that when I select an opportunity that is in the lost status, my side panel disappears. So you can now define what conditions would affect that side panel appearing and also affect the order of the icons in that side panel. For example, right now I see that my opportunity is available as well as my customer view dashboard. I can now simply drag and drop those icons in my generic inquiry editor if I would like to change the format and the order of my navigation icons. So now that we've done some account targeting, we know that our AR team is going to start to get heavily involved with processing the orders from these new discounted target accounts. What I'm going to do is navigate over to my AR clerk dashboard. In Acumatica 21R1, we have introduced brand new financials dashboards that are built into the core product. Again, faster customer implementations, and also being able to deliver industry-leading key performance indicators across the different aspects of an organization. An AR department, for example, is concerned with critical performance indicators such as invoices that need to be printed or emailed, statements that need to be emailed, payments that need to be applied. And all of these different key performance indicators are now available to all of our Acumatica users that take advantage of our financials dashboards. So what I've just done is taken you through a number of the new usability enhancements in Acumatica 21R1. I'm going to take us back over to the slides and we'll switch gears so we can head right into our next demo.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate you going through all those great usability features that are going to save our users tons of time and capabilities. Next, I want to move on to the advanced notifications. In previous versions of Acumatica, we allow you to send all types of notifications. You can do SMS messages, you can do text messages, you can even send emails and other types of capabilities. In 2020 R1, we ramped that up even further, so you can take no code, low code to a new level when it comes to communicating with customers and vendors. In this example, I'm a product manager who needs to send a recall notice to several customers who have purchased a set of brake pads that have gone faulty. So let's take a look at how I can easily do that in 21 Release 1. So first I'm going to go pull up an inquiry. My inquiry is titled Recall Notice. So I can go in here, and using this simple data inquiry, I can look for the type of inventory item that I've got. And here's the chromium brake pad that had a failure. Now this is an inquiry that shows everybody who purchased that in the past few years. But notice I don't have any email address for this one, so it wouldn't make any sense to try and send them an email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter that out so that it no longer appears. In addition, my recall only pertains to items that were purchased before 2021. So I'm going to filter this so that as of the 1st, only these customers are going to receive this notice. Now, using the new action that I created using a no-code, low-code capability, I can go ahead and send this recall notice to all my customers in a click of a button. This automatically queues up emails that can be sent to my customers. When my mailing's complete, I can go look at the messages that were delivered. So here's an example of one of the messages that went out. It gives customers specific instructions on what they can do and how to return their item to get a refund for it. This was all driven by a new capability within our business event. Notice that we have this new item called Trigger by Action, which I can set up. I can assign this to different screens, including inquiries and other ones that I can then filter and send targeted inquiries to my customers and vendors, depending on what I want to notify them of. So this is just another example of how Acumatica 2021 makes you more efficient when it comes to notifying and staying in touch with customers. That concludes part one of our demonstrations. Before we get on to part two, I'd like to turn it back to John in the Car Museum.
Thanks, Doug and Jessica. I'm back here with Renee, and we've got our next car here with us, which is a 1902 Studebaker. And there's something kind of special about this car, which is that it's an early electric car. So why don't you tell us a bit about this, Renee?
That's right. You know, a lot of people don't understand that electric technology in automobiles go way back to the beginning of the 20th century. At the turn of the century, up to about the first 10 years, 1/3 of all the cars on the road were actually electric power. This one is a 1902 Studebaker Electric made by Studebaker of South Bend, Indiana, and they actually started out their business in the 1850s making wagons and coaches. And in 1902, they branched out into automotive building with cars and wagons, commercial wagons. This is actually a small commercial express wagon, all electric. They built electric cars till about 1912, and then they went into internal combustion exclusively. But this car is really great because it's one of the few, actually we think it's the only running example, 1902, known to exist. And it's been lovingly restored. It runs on batteries that generate 48 volts, could go 12 miles per hour and about 40 miles on a charge. And you know, it's interesting about how, there's no steering wheel. You don't see a steering wheel on these. Early wagons like this, you would normally have a yoke that was attached to horses. So they came up with this innovative way of steering the car using a tiller. So you move the tiller and it drives the front wheels the way you want to go. So these were very, very versatile. Women liked to drive them. Cars and wagons were really popular with women because they were easy to start. You didn't have to crank them. When you turn them on, the power is there. And they're clean and they don't make a lot of noise. So this is really fun to know that this technology is that old.
Well, very cool example. Thanks, Renee. And now back to Doug and Jessica.
Thank you, John. Now I'd like to move into the next part of our demonstrations. We're going to talk about several cross-company features that we have entered into 21 Release 1. So next we want to move into a scenario that talks about supply chain and multi-companies all doing business with each other. Specifically, we have two related companies. A company that does production, which is our Canadian company, and a company that does primarily sales based in the US. I'm going to be working in the Canadian company, and Jessica's going to be working in the US company. With Acumatica 2021, we've made it very easy for Jessica to purchase goods from me. All the different types of documents, such as sales orders, purchase receipts, and system invoices are going to be automatically created to minimize the time it takes me to enter orders and perform transactions between related companies. So let's take a look and see how this looks in the software. By logging in as someone in French. So this would be someone in Quebec who's producing the materials. So you can see all the screens are in French. And if needed, I can go in and I can look up specific items. So let's take a look for some wheel rims because I know they're interested in those in the US. And I'll open up my area here. On the stock item, I can see that my description is in French, but if I have US customers that are ordering it, I have the ability to show a US translation of that. In addition, I can go here and take a look that I have a few in stock and get ready to produce even more. Now, the French-Canadian localization is not limited to just a language. We also have the capability to transact with Canadian banks through EFT, and it comes with some pre-configured tax calculations that are helpful when paying VAT tax in Canada. So I'm going to head it over to Jessica now so she can start the process of ordering some goods from the United States from my Canadian entity.
Thank you very much, Doug. I am part of the US entity where I manage purchases from our Canadian entity. So next up, I am going to operate as the purchasing manager from our US entity, and it's my job to create the purchase orders to our Canadian entity. On my purchasing manager dashboard, operating in my US East branch, I'm going to initiate the process of placing a purchase order to Canada. I will use my new link tile to create that new PO. On the purchase order record, we are going to use our Canadian vendor or our Canadian branch as the vendor on this purchase order record. That will help us to automate the process of creating the intercompany documents between our companies. Next up, I add the wheel rims, which are the item that we are purchasing from our Canadian entity today. Now that we've placed the purchase order for our Canadian entity, we are going to be able to see that sales order automatically generated on the Canada side. So Doug, I'm going to pause here, and why don't you show us what's occurring on the Canadian side of our business?
Thank you, Jessica. Here I am as a shipping manager in Canada. In my orders to ship, I can see an order has arrived that's from a related entity. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. As you can see, the customer is a US East branch. So all the pricing, calculations, taxes, and everything are calculated just like they would be for any other customer. The difference is the accounting that takes place in the background will take into effect intercompany transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and create the shipment. This is the normal process that I would follow to create shipments. I'm going to create shipments, and then potentially I would use the Acumatica WMS capabilities to pick, pack, and ship it, and hit the confirmation button. Also, I could have an automated process that goes back and prepares an invoice. All this can be done following the normal capabilities of Acumatica. But with the new intercompany transactions, Jessica is going to show how we can greatly simplify the time that it takes to enter transactions on her side. Jessica, back over to you.
So back on the US side, I will be able to take advantage of the automated processes in Acumatica to generate the necessary documents with these transactions. You can see two examples of brand new processing screens in R1, including the Generate Intercompany Purchase Receipt screen and the Generate Intercompany Document screen. I'll take you to my Generate Intercompany Purchase Receipt screen, but I would like to note that both of these processes can be completely automated and put on a schedule. In other words, this can be running in the background, so the process of actually creating the receipt could be automated by the system. With our process constantly running in the background, I'm going to be maintaining a receiving clerk dashboard. A new PO does arrive, so I'm going to drill down on my incoming shipments. From the receipt record, we can begin to process that receipt from our Canadian entity. To do so, I will simply remove this receipt from hold and release it. As we have released that receipt, we can also constantly see the link for the intercompany sale. So I do have a link directly to the shipment that this sale is tied to. Finally, as a reminder, we can use our automated intercompany document generation screen to prepare the necessary AP bill in our Canadian entity, as well as the necessary invoice for us to pay in the US entity. I will go ahead and process this intercompany document transaction, reminding the audience that this can be completely automated by Acumatica behind the scenes. This helps to save the time being spent in created intercompany documents and will significantly help our customers that are managing multi-entity businesses. Doug, I'm going to pause here and hand it back over to you so that we can transition to our next demo.
Thank you, Jessica. So now that we've transferred some goods to the United States, let's talk about our sales process. There's nothing more important in the business world, especially with small and medium-sized businesses, than generating revenue. With improvements to Acumatica CRM, we've made this even more possible. So let's take us through a scenario where we're out at a trade show, meeting with potential clients, and trying to streamline the process of turning these clients into actual customers. At the trade show, I'm walking around with my mobile phone that you see displayed here. When I run into somebody, they hand me a business card, and I'm going to go enter them as a lead into the system. So I click the leads area, and then I'm able to go in and add them in a number of different ways. In this case, I'm going to take a picture of the business card that I was just handed. So the system's done the difficult work for me. It's recognized all the information on the business card, and it's going to make it possible for me to go ahead and automatically enter this into my system. But before I do that, I noticed that it needs a little bit of help finding the phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and hit phone 1, and I'm going to go ahead and enter that into the system. With that done, I can now get back to sales activities on the trade show floor, and I can spend my time meeting with new clients instead of taking care of entering data into my system. This is going to greatly help my sales processes and is a good demonstration of how Acumatica 2020 R1 with the business card recognition feature is going to help me while I'm out of the office. Jessica, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, Doug. I am a salesperson back in the office, and it's my job to make sure that I am answering phone calls on our inbound sales line, particularly during trade show season when it's very, very busy on the inbound phone line. I do receive a phone call to the inbound sales line, and I have an eager lead on the other end who has met Doug at our trade show. Mr. Jeff Waldron tells us that he is very interested in the wheel rims that we had on display at the trade show. So I start to enter Jeff's information, and as I begin to save that lead record, we're going to see a brand new feature in Acumatica 21 R1. And this is giving us duplication visibility before we actually save the lead record. In other words, no need for me to clutter up my system with duplicate records. I can say that we do not want to create a duplicate since it seems this lead already exists in the system. With that, I can go to the Duplicates tab and identify the existing lead, which of course is Jeff, and we know that he already exists in the system because Doug had scanned his business card from the trade show. On my lead record, I am going to go ahead and turn this into a business account because Jeff actually indicates that he is not only interested in our wheel rims, but he's actually ready to make a purchase from us. I will transfer this lead into a business account so that he can make the purchase. And he tells me that his company is called Jeff's Big Wheels. That's why he's purchasing rims from us today. I'll create the new business account. As I create the business account, I am going to be able to tie our primary contact information to the business account record. Remember, Jeff's information was scanned all the way back from a mobile device, and I can now use Acumatica's CRM workflows to seamlessly tie that contact record to the business account in question. Now that we've used Acumatica's CRM workflows to tie the primary contact to the business account, we're ready to move forward with processing the sale for Jeff. So to start that process of the sale for Jeff, I'm going to create a new sales opportunity. On the opportunity record, I will add a description. And then I will go ahead and add the item in question, which, as we know, is of course the wheel rims. I'm going to add my quantity. Since Jeff is stocking up his store, he wants a few more of these rims than the average B2C customer. And then I will go ahead and save this opportunity record. Notice as I do that, the status field is no longer editable. Again, using Acumatica's CRM workflows, we have designed the system to now automatically update those statuses for you, depending on where the transaction or activity exists in the system. In other words, at what point are we at with that opportunity, and then we can start to change those statuses for you. Now that we've created this opportunity and added our line items, we have set up our sales team to move forward and close this sale with Jeff. So I'm going to stop here and hand it back over to Doug. Now that he's back from the trade show, he is ready to go ahead and process these sales.
Thank you, Jessica. After my business trip, I'm back in the office and I'm eager to review accounts. I may have received notifications that opportunities have been created on accounts that I manage. Using a new feature with pre-built side panels in 21 Release 1, I can quickly get an update on my accounts. I can also see any opportunities that have been created, and quickly open them up. If needed, I can also look at sales orders, receivables, and even cases. All these come out of the box with 21 Release 1 within the CRM side panels. So I'm going to go ahead and drill into my opportunity. I want to make this deal happen quickly, so I call the customer. My customer says, I'm no longer interested in front wheel rims, but I know that you all have some decals that you sell, and I'm interested in those. So from meeting him on the trade show floor, I've gotten all the information from a colleague, and I quickly go in and add some decals. Using the new workflows in CRM, I open the lead, and I'm going to mark this one as 1 because I'm on the phone and everything's happened according to schedule. The next thing that I need to do is get the sales order ready for our shipping department. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create the sales order directly from the opportunity screen. In this case, you'll see that my auto decals are automatically added to my sales order. In addition, this is a drop ship item, so it's automatically set up so that it's marked for a drop ship. We'll get into this a little bit more in our next demonstration. So now I've gone ahead and I've created my sales order that's involving with drop ship. The next demonstration is going to pick up right where we left off here. But before I do that, let me get into some of the details of what we've improved with our drop shipping capabilities. In Acumatica 2020 R1, we're taking advantage of even new improvements to streamline and make supply chains work even better together. In this case, we're working on a situation where as a seller, I don't want to keep a lot of inventory in stock. So I'm going to place an order with my vendor. The vendor is going to ship things directly to the customer. It's called a drop ship. In 2020 Release 1, we've tightened the linkage between the sales orders and the purchase orders. Why is this important? Because if the customer decides to change his mind after I've already sent the purchase order to my vendor, I can now do that and keep my records in sync. In addition, if the customer receives some goods that are not to his satisfaction, in 21 Release 1, we can send that back to the vendor directly. It no longer has to come through my particular warehouse. So now, as a salesperson, I've gone ahead and I've created my sales order. And we're going to go ahead and drop ship that to our customer. To do this, I'm going to toss it back to Jessica, who's going to take care of our purchasing department and make sure that the order gets created for our vendor. Jessica, back to you.
Thank you, Doug. As the purchasing manager, it is now my responsibility to review all purchase requests, manage drop shipments to customers, and even negotiate rates with vendors. I can use the Create Purchase Orders screen in Acumatica to help me perform the creation of those drop ships and other purchase orders that need to be placed. Here I can see the drop ship request for our customer. Using this screen, I can go ahead and process that drop ship request. This is going to create the purchase order for our customer. Here on the purchase order, I am going to see some of the new linking that's available to help us streamline the process of managing our supply chain. For example, I see that we are managing a dropship PO, but I also see 2 new fields to highlight the sales order number, as well as that we are linking this dropship to a sales order. This makes it very easy for me as a purchasing or supply chain manager to understand where our documents and transactions are being processed from and to. Similar linkage fields also exist on the sales order so that you get the same visibility from the other side. I'm going to remove my purchase order from hold, and I'm also going to enter the purchase order receipt, indicating that we have in fact initiated the process of drop shipping to the customer. I'll enter in my vendor reference and release that purchase receipt, which indicates that the customer has now received the goods from this drop shipment. Now that I've entered and released the PO receipt, that is an indication that our customer has received the goods from this drop shipment. Why don't we check in with our salesperson to see if there are any follow-ups on this order?
Thank you, Jessica. Indeed, there is some follow-up. Apparently, my items arrived, and Jeff wasn't happy with them. So quickly, I go to my Customer 360 view, and I'm going to open the sales order to take a look at it and see what might be causing a problem. He says that some of the decals weren't sticking that well, so he wants to return them. Now in Acumatica 21 Release 1, as I mentioned before, we can actually go ahead and return these directly to the vendor. Let me show you how this is done. So in order to do this, I'm going to initiate a new sales order. This is going to be a sales order, which is going to be of type return. So I'm going to enter my customer. And I'm going to return the items. So to do this, I quickly go navigate and find the previous purchase. And I add it to my return order. Now in this particular case, I don't want them to ship the items back to me. I want to mark it as a drop ship back to the vendor. So I go ahead and I do that. And then I can use this action called create vendor return. This is going to go ahead and create the direct return information so Jeff can send it back to the vendor. If needed, I can customize a report that I would actually use that send an email to Jeff to give him instructions on what to return and how to do it. Once the return is received, I automatically create the appropriate debit adjustment in Acumatica to complete the 360 sales cycle. So my transaction started on the trade show floor. It made it through the entire sales and shipping process, and then I was able to quickly and efficiently manage the process to receive the goods back and even provide my customer a credit with the minimal amount of effort from me. So this concludes the demonstrations for today. Jessica and I were only able to show you a small portion of what was available in 21 Release 1. We showed you some of the usability features, we showed you some of the best-in-class functionality, and we showed you some of the new notifications and other capabilities of our platform. In the breakout sessions, you're going to learn more about the industry editions. But before we get there, I'd like to thank the developers for all their hard work, and thank you for the time you've spent watching our demonstrations. Now I'd like to pass it back to John at the museum to wrap things up.
Thanks again, Doug and Jessica. There's so much amazing stuff in Acumatica 2021 R1. We're literally just scratching the surface. And now our last car, and something we don't want to be scratching the surface on, we've got here a 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB4. And Renee, tell us a bit about this baby.
Well, you know, everybody knows the name Ferrari. Ferrari in America was very, very popular. And you know, I want to say one thing. LeMay America's Car Museum is really not about just American-built cars. We're about what Americans love to drive, and Ferrari in America is extremely popular. We're standing in the middle of the most beautiful collection of Ferraris. We've got a Ferrari 575M, we've got a 699 GTO. We also have a Portofino on display, as well as a Ferrari 458.
Yeah, I love the finish on the 458.
The 458 is beautiful, isn't it? And that's a lot of times when we have exhibits, we reach out into the community to be able to tell these stories, because when we can pull in these gorgeous cars like this one. It's first year for the 4-cam, the V12 4-cam, famous Ferrari engine. It's a GT, it has beautiful styling. The styling is reminiscent of the 250 GTOs. This car is a beautiful example of a car that was 3 owners, well cared for, never been wrecked, never had any problems with it. And the current owner has actually had this car for 20 years. It's one of his babies. So we will have cars like all of these Ferraris for people to see, because not everybody has ever owned a Ferrari in their life. They may have owned a 57 Chevy, or they may have had a Honda or some other car that we might.
This is what you dream of.
This is what you dream about. So to be able to come to LeMay America's Car Museum and see these gorgeous cars, that's what we like, and tell that story of Ferrari in America. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, this is like the Ferris Bueller moment.
Oh, I know, exactly.
Well, fantastic. And, you know, Renee, I want to thank you and the museum here for hosting us. It's been a fantastic day, and we've seen some amazing cars. And I will encourage anybody who wants to come out, if you're in the area, come and visit. So thank you again, Renee.
Thank you.
Well, folks, we saw some great technology here today. Acumatica 2021 R1. What a fantastic release of the product. And again, those demos were just scratching the surface. We also got to see some amazing automotive technology here, and I want to again thank Renee and the museum for hosting us. It's been a fantastic place to do this event. I talked about the investment that we're doing into Acumatica innovation and technology, investment in the platform and keeping that moving forward and current, investment into the core modules, and of course the investment into the industry editions. And so stick around for the breakout session. You get to learn about some of the cool things we're doing in those industry editions. Lastly, I talked about the Acumatica community, something that's so important and near and dear to my heart. I talked about the new portal that we launched last year at the end of the year, community.acumatica.com. And if you haven't been up there yet, I encourage you to get up there and join the thousands of other Acumatica community members and sharing best practices and answering questions for each other. It's a great thing to see in action. We couldn't do this event in person, but the next one is perhaps the grounding feature or grounding event for the Acumatica community, and that's the Acumatica Summit. We've moved the dates to July 18th to July 23rd, and so I hope you can all join me there in Las Vegas, July 18th. Thank you very much. Stick around for those breakout sessions and enjoy Acumatica 2021 R1.